Hi, and welcome to this training exercise of the information portal to MBPC. First of all, I'd just like to say that this software that I've created here, I haven't written it all by hand as I would normally do in the past. I've actually bought a piece of software, quite a cheap piece of software, that allows me to generate an application. Saying that, once you've actually got the basic application, you then got to actually roll your sleeves up and start looking at the logic that you've used. And yeah, you do have to do a bit of coding, but in the main, what you see is generated for me, which is great because it allows someone who writes software to focus on the content, what they want it to do, as opposed to having to write reams of code. And to give you some idea, even though it's a generated piece of software, there's around 6,500 files in this, so it's quite a bit of kit. Anyway, so what we've got at the moment, we've got this very basic login, and I've put a bit of messaging information down there. What will happen in the future, I think, is that probably have a background map on here showing the velodrome and the centre. I'm going to try and implement street maps as a background image. It'll be movable with some markers on it, and also this messaging information. What I'd like to see that's going to be dynamics. At the moment, it's static. What I'd like us to do is to have an information box so we can all post a message up there if necessary for us all to see, whatever that might be, and there'll be some standard text there otherwise. And also on the front screen, I'd like a box that says who's logged into the system at any one moment. But at the moment, that's just an idea. So what we've got here is we've got a login, and everybody's got a user password for it. We've all got the same privileges and permissions, so we're all trusting each other that we don't go mad and wreck all the data. I will back this up every night, more or less, or certainly when significant change is made. Anybody that's got any ideas, concerns, what changes made, typos, whatever, just let me know, email, whatever, and we can get it sorted. So I'm just going to go into the system and log in, and then what we get first of all, it goes straight to a dashboard. And what I've done here, I've used the charting section of the package, and I've just tried to build a simple line diagram. And this shows all the players and how many sessions they've attended, and it's ordered by the session number. So it says here Ben 2 is done 41, whereas Michael Kara has done 16, etc. I just thought I'd try and use the line facility and see what it looked like. Also got a column chart here showing us how many players we've got in each of the groups. I'm not sure how accurate that is. I might be a few more players in my register that are really not with us anymore, but we'll tune that as we go along. Then we've got the number of total sessions that have been attended by a player in a month, and forget about this data 13, that was an anomaly because I haven't got all the data for January, but what we should be looking at is this value rising, or at least keeping at a constant level. That shows us that our players want to attend the training and are attending the training. And then what I've done down here is I've broken it down further. These are the attendances on Tuesday, and over here we have on the attendances on Thursday, as long as the data is collected and returned to me. So the last training session we did last night, there was actually 26 people there, 26 players. I think we can only get a maximum of 30, and I know that Chris 2, Merrill and Mira weren't there for 3, so I think we did pretty well last night. The week before was a bit of a funny one because Michael and myself sort of said, well, we've only got a few, we've got 19. There was something, quite a big difference there it seemed anyway, but last night was far more successful. So there we've got the dashboard. Now over here we've got a list of themes. This allows us to change the coloration of the application. And why might we do that? Well, on certain devices, use a phone or use a tablet, you actually get a better representation on something like Facebook. If you actually press Facebook, it will change the coloration to something that looks like Facebook does. And you might find it easier for some of the forms to actually use and see. But for now, I quite like this Cyborg. There's quite a few I like actually, but I'll put it to the Cyborg. It's easier for me to read the information. So from the dashboard, we can actually, I've got two ways of navigating to this all players. That's the next form that we've got. We can actually go to the drop down menu and pick it, or I've actually got this highlight over here that I can use, and I can select that and it goes into the all players. Now this all players, it suggests it's a register of every single player that we've had ever. And what I've asked people to do is when they come down, they fill in a form and I key it all in. And we could actually, you know, we can do this on the fly. If we had a tablet or a PC there and then, we can have people key in the information. Or what I really want to do is to link this to the website as well, because on the website we've got, if I go to the website here, we've got at the top of the website here, we've got an online enrolment form which gives us much of the same information. And if we directed people to this, we could actually have that record once committed, once saved, which is at the bottom, the submit. We could have that information automatically placed into a record within this system. So that might be a move that I'll go for, but we'll have to start promoting the website. Anyway, so in here we have all the players that we've got, and we would have an image. We've got an image of, got one or two Bart Simpson images in there at the moment. Just let's have a look at, use these buttons to go back. Navigation is through buttons, so we've put Bart in there. We can have a photograph of each of the player, providing it's of a certain size or whatever. So we might like to think about that. You've got controls in here. All these fields have got filters on them. So we can actually filter. We can filter on players. We can filter on groups. So there, if I want to see just the emerging people, there we go. Bang, they're all in the they're in the emerging group. If I want to see all of the developers or developing people, there we go. I want to put all the raw people, trainers, there we go. So we can actually filter this, and from that as well we can actually do an export. We can export it to Word, XML. I think I'll get rid of XML, CSV, PDF. Certainly, you know, we could use these formats, and these filters go across the board on nearly all of the, you know, it's a built-in part of the application. We can actually put a search on here. We can actually have a search. We can put a complex filter in. All this stuff comes free with the application. There's no additional code needed, but I can filter on anything. I can search for anything. I can report, so it builds a report basically. I can have sort it on everything. I can change the number of records per page. There's all sorts that come free with this, the standard with this package. So I can actually change all sorts of stuff dynamically, which I think is absolutely fantastic. A lot of the software that I deal with, and we write a lot of it, doesn't have this very basic functionality. You can print stuff off as well. If you want to add a new person, use the Add New button, and up we get a new record. They get an ID behind the scenes or automatically, and we can then key in all of this information. Now, this is the basic layer of the form. At some point in the future, I might remod this and make it really nice and change the title for something else and what have you. But at the moment, that's what we've got. It's still, everything's still being changed. Anyway, so those we've got, that's all players. We can cancel that and go back, and that's all our players that we've got. Again, if I want to move to the next screen, I can use that one, or I can go back to the dashboard using that key there. For now, I'm going to go back this way. Current players. Difference between current players and all players. Current players, none of them are end-dated, none of them are suspended. So you will not find any suspended or end-dated players in here. I've put in this this mechanism where we can actually get to them by the surnames or by an index, if you like. So there's Ben Matthews and Ben Sweet. It's what they start with. So if I look for Jamie, I'd have to actually for J for James. It's not Buckley or whatever, it's done by first letter of the name, so that might be useful as well, just to get us to quickly to place to get to the information. So I'm going to use this now. So that's current players, full details, current players by a card. So the idea is same information, current players, but if they had an image, you just get an image displayed, and where it says photo, and there's just some basic information. We can print that off as well. It looks pretty nice in print. Again, we've got filters up here as well if you want to use any of them filters. Can export the data. Okay, we'll carry on. We've got current players short form. This is current players, but just minimum data. And the reason I did this was it's pretty good if you're actually exporting it to PDF or to CSV or whatever. There we go. It makes a nice report. I'm going to ask some modifications of this package, and one of them is I'm going to actually ask them to embed the header of what we're dealing with here. But other than that, if you print that off, it's a pretty good report to save it, or you can save the file and actually download the file here, and it's a pretty good list of players that we've got, to be honest. And these should be all players that are not end dated and are not suspended, so they should be current. Now in the data I've actually got some areas where we've got null values, and I'll try to fill all this in. Our system, like any other system, is only as good as the data we've got in it, so we need to make sure the quality of our data is up to date. Yeah. Okay, so if I go back now, leave that's the short form. So then we've got attendance. Now the idea is we've got a calendar. And we can so at the moment with this calendar, it goes beyond this. It goes, take the filter off there, the actual calendar right to the end. I've set it up so that it's inclusive of all the Thursdays and Tuesdays to the end of April. What I will do is add in the end of May and June, and we finish then. I've actually wrote a routine that does this automatically. I feed it a month number and it builds these in. It runs them in automatically. So yeah. So what we do is we pick a date. So the next date that we've got, the last date that we had was the 28th of, that's 2016. Was the 28th of March, 28th of March. Right, so the last training date that we had was the 28th of March. And what we've got here, we've found that we've got 26 people attended, 26 players attended that session. And when we're actually adding attendance to this, what we do is we pick the date that we're interested in, and I might even have the next date that are highlighted in colour. I might use colour. So the next one, we actually use this drop down arrow here. That means the next child form, and we pick the short format attendance. If we pick the short format attendance, we get this. Now you can see here the button it's actually got the word attended on it. It doesn't look very good. So for me, I'm quite happy to change that to a Facebook appearance, and now it's much better. And these attendance values can be toggled by pressing this button on and off. And we can set that to no, we can set that to yeah. And what we'll do is, as we move beyond the date, I'm going to put a freeze on the data so we can't change it, so we retain the history of it. So when a session gets, say, a week old, I'm going to block any change to it. But at the moment, we've got free form, we can actually do it live. So the idea is you would come into this when you've got your mobile phone or your laptop or your tablet, when you're at the venue, pick your date, and we would already have people listed in here, but the attendance value would be no by default, and we'll do that based on the last set of attendees for that venue. So I've got a routine that will run ahead, so that when Dave Edgar gets to say the academy, when he comes to the date of his training, there will be a set number of people listed. Now, if there is someone that's